What if I told you that one country has survived centuries of invasions, defeated the ambitions of powerful enemies, and continues to challenge some of the world's biggest superpowers? A nation surrounded by rivals. A nation under sanctions for decades. A nation many have tried to weaken, but none have truly managed to break. Today, we're talking about Iran, the country that Saddam Hussein failed to conquer. The country that sits at the center of one of the world's most important trade routes, and the country that could turn a regional conflict into a global crisis. But here's the biggest question. If the United States, the most powerful military force on Earth, launched a full-scale attack on Iran tomorrow, could Iran survive? Or would one of the world's oldest civilizations finally fall? The answer may surprise you. Because Iran's greatest weapon isn't just its military, it's the land itself. Part 1. Why has nobody been able to conquer Iran? What if I told you that one of the most powerful countries in the Middle East has survived invasions, sanctions, wars, and international pressure for decades, and yet still remains standing? This is the story of Iran, a country that has challenged superpowers, survived isolation, and earned a reputation as one of the most difficult nations in the world to defeat. Whenever tensions rise between Iran and the United States, the same question returns. Could America actually destroy Iran? At first, the answer seems obvious. The United States has the most advanced military on Earth. It spends more on defense than most countries combined. Its force, navy, satellites, stealth bombers, and missile systems are unmatched. So how could a country like Iran possibly stand against such a giant? The answer begins with something that no amount of money can buy: geography. Iran is not just another country on the map. It is a natural fortress. Look at Iran from above, and you'll notice something remarkable. Much of the country is protected by massive mountain ranges. To the west lies the Zagros Mountains, stretching for nearly 1,600 kilometers. These mountains form a giant wall between Iran and its western neighbors. For any invading army, crossing these rugged mountains is a nightmare. Heavy tanks move slowly. Supply lines become vulnerable. Communication becomes difficult. And the deeper an army advances, the harder it becomes to maintain control. History has proven this again and again. In 1980, Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein believed Iran was weak. The Islamic Revolution had recently shaken the country. Political instability was everywhere. Saddam saw an opportunity. He launched a full-scale invasion. His plan was simple: capture Iran's oil-rich regions, weaken the government, and force the country into submission before it could recover. At first, everything seemed to be going according to plan. Iraqi forces advanced into Iranian territory and captured key areas near the border. But then reality struck. As Iraqi troops attempted to move deeper into Iran, they encountered the harsh geography of the country. The mountains slowed them down. Supply routes became overstretched. Iranian forces regrouped and launched counterattacks. What Saddam expected to be a quick victory turned into one of the longest conventional wars of the 20th century. The conflict lasted 8 years. Millions were affected. Hundreds of thousands lost their lives. And after all that destruction, neither side achieved a decisive victory. The borders remained almost exactly where they had been before the war. That experience taught the world an important lesson. Invading Iran is one thing. Conquering Iran is something completely different. And the challenges don't stop there. In the north, Iran is protected by the Zagros Mountains and the Caspian Sea. In the center, vast deserts create additional obstacles for military operations. In many ways, nature itself acts as Iran's first line of defense. But geography alone doesn't explain Iran's resilience. The second reason is its people. Iran is home to more than 90 million citizens. Persians, Azeris, Kurds, Baluchis, Arabs, and several other ethnic groups live within its borders. Normally, such diversity can create divisions. But whenever foreign pressure increases, many Iranians tend to unite around a shared sense of national identity. Throughout history, Iranians have developed a strong belief that their country must remain independent and resist outside domination. That mindset has helped Iran survive some of the most difficult periods in its modern history. And this brings us to the next question. If Iran is so difficult to invade, what makes it such a dangerous opponent in modern warfare? The answer lies in its missiles, drones, strategic location, and regional influence. Part 2. Can America really defeat Iran? So, if Iran is protected by mountains, geography, and a strong sense of national identity, does that mean the country is impossible to defeat? But defeating Iran would be far more complicated than many people imagine, because Iran's real strength doesn't end at its borders. It begins there. Over the last 4 decades, Iran has built one of the largest missile programs in the Middle East. Unlike countries that rely heavily on expensive fighter jets and aircraft carriers, Iran invested in something different: missiles and drones. And there was a reason for that. After the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran found itself isolated from many Western nations. Buying advanced military equipment became increasingly difficult due to sanctions. Instead of depending on foreign suppliers, Iran started developing its own military technology. Today, the country possesses a large arsenal of ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and attack drones. Many of these weapons are designed to strike targets hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away. This means that if a major conflict breaks out, military bases, strategic facilities, and infrastructure across the region could potentially become targets. But missiles are only part of the equation. Iran's drone program has become one of its most important military assets. Modern warfare has shown how effective drones can be. They are relatively cheap, difficult to detect, and capable of carrying out surveillance or precision attacks. Over the years, Iran has invested heavily in drone technology, turning it into one of the country's most valuable strategic tools. However, Iran's greatest advantage may not be its missiles or drones. It may be its location. Look at the map again. Just south of Iran lies one of the most important waterways on Earth, the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow passage connects the Persian Gulf to the rest of the world. A significant portion of the world's oil exports passes through this route every day. That means any serious military confrontation involving Iran could have consequences far beyond the Middle East. Even the possibility of disruption in this region can send shockwaves through global energy markets. Oil prices rise, shipping costs increase, and economies around the world begin to feel the pressure. This gives Iran a level of strategic importance that cannot be ignored. But there is another layer to Iran's influence. For decades, Iran has worked to expand its political and military relationships across the region. Instead of relying only on conventional military power, it developed networks of allies and partner groups in different parts of the Middle East. This approach gives Iran influence far beyond its own borders. As a result, any conflict involving Iran has the potential to affect multiple countries at the same time. And this is exactly why military planners view a war with Iran differently from many other conflicts. A confrontation would not necessarily remain limited to a single battlefield. Now let's return to the biggest question. Could the United States defeat Iran? If we're talking about air power, technology, and military spending, the United States clearly has the advantage, and advanced weapons systems are among the most sophisticated in the world. In a direct military comparison, the United States possesses far greater capabilities. It could inflict enormous damage on Iranian military infrastructure. There is little doubt about that, but modern wars are not judged only by who can launch the most missiles. They are judged by objectives. Can you occupy the territory? Can you control the population? Can you maintain stability after the fighting ends? And can you do all of this without paying an unbearable cost? History shows that these questions are often much harder to answer than expected. Powerful nations have entered wars believing victory would come quickly, only to find themselves trapped in long and costly conflicts. That is why many analysts believe that while damaging Iran is possible, completely controlling or transforming the country would be a far more difficult challenge. In the end, Iran's strength comes from a combination of factors: its geography, its population, its military strategy, its strategic location, and its ability to adapt under pressure. Whether one sees Iran as a regional power, a rival, or a threat, one thing is clear: for centuries, empires have tried to bend Persia to their will. Many succeeded in winning battles. Very few succeeded in truly controlling the land. And that is why, even today, Iran remains one of the most challenging countries in the world to confront. The real question isn't whether Iran can be attacked. The real question is what happens after the attack begins. Because history has shown us many times that starting a war is often much easier than finishing one. So, can Iran be attacked? Absolutely. Can Iran be damaged? Without a doubt. But history has shown us that destroying a country's military infrastructure and truly defeating a nation are two very different things. For centuries, powerful empires have marched toward Persia, believing victory was inevitable. Some won battles, some captured cities, but very few managed to control the land for long. Today, Iran remains one of the most strategically important countries in the world. Its geography, military capabilities, regional influence, and control over critical trade routes make it a nation that cannot be ignored. And that's why the question isn't simply whether a war with Iran could begin. The real question is what happens after it begins. Because history teaches us a lesson that every superpower eventually learns. Starting a war is often easy. Finishing it is the hard part. If a full-scale conflict ever broke out between the United States and Iran, who would have the advantage? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into history, geopolitics, and world affairs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.